Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing great. I dare even say hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and on TikTok. There are links in the description below. All you got to do is scroll down and click on them. See, it's that easy. And sorry, I know I'm a bit much. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. For those of you who don't know Michael Saylor, it is probably your first or second time at this channel. Michael Saylor is a very interesting individual who is very well known for saying quite controversial things within the cryptocurrency space. He runs a company called MicroStrategy, whose strategy is mainly buying Bitcoin. Yeah, they became popular a number of years ago by simply buying Bitcoin. I know you are expecting something more difficult. Nope. That was it. They do. I assume they have other operations, but can any of you actually tell me what MicroStrategy does besides buying Bitcoin? I don't think so. They started out by buying a little. No, actually, that's a lie. It wasn't a little. No normal human being can just buy like 11,000 Bitcoin. That's not a normal thing. But they're constantly gaining notoriety for the amount of Bitcoin that they hold. Michael Saylor is I want to say self-proclaimed, Bitcoin maximalist, even though sometimes some of the things he says may not be very maximally. Like recently, he was in the news for stating that Bitcoin doesn't do anything. The way that it was interpreted was that basically Bitcoin itself doesn't give you a return. So Bitcoin can go from $1,000 to $50,000, and all you've gotten, air quotes, is the money from the price rising higher. Logically, but he says he wanted to do more, and this is why we've been hearing about staking on Bitcoin and being able to stake your Bitcoin. And we had something about being able to lend your Bitcoin and all these other new protocols and things like that. And I will mention, don't go hunting for these brand new things. If you really are holding crypto and you want to make some kind of a return with it, I would actually suggest that you either do it through self-custody on your self-custody wallet and make your money back that way, and or go to a licensed and registered cryptocurrency exchange so that in the event of any kind of a loss that you actually get your money back. Too many protocols keep popping up and people just, rush into them and then wonder where their monies went. Yeah, it went down the drain because that was a fake protocol. Anyway, he's back again. Woo! With some interesting ideas about the next 10 years. You don't understand how controversial this is, but you are going to very quickly come to terms with exactly how insane that this actually is. Insane is the real word that we're going to use there. Michael Saylor, the co-founder and chairman of MicroStrategy, has once again captured the attention, understatement, of the cryptocurrency space with a Bitcoin prediction. It is not at all what you're expecting. I promise you. Even better, tell me what you think the prediction is going to be. Like right now, tell me what you think Michael Saylor has said about Bitcoin. What do you think it's going to be? Because I'm certain that you're going to get it wrong. In a recent tweet, Michael Saylor has predicted that 99.99% of all Bitcoin will be already mined by the 2nd of January, 2035. End quote. Why this is insane, some of you might be asking who've never been here before and know nothing about Bitcoin or how blockchain works. Well, every 4 years, Bitcoin has a halving. Okay, got it. And what happens is that the amount of Bitcoin being released by the machine gets cut in half. Thus the word halving. Still with me? Hope so. The other part is that less Bitcoin comes out of the machine. I know it sounds self-explanatory, but listen. Mathematically, many people, not me, the numbers are out there. People have done the math and they said the 2024 halving will reduce Bitcoin's creation supply by X. The 2028 halving will cut that supply in half even further. 2032, which is when people are expecting, that is, for those of you who don't know, 2029 and 2030 have been the predicted years for when Bitcoin will be past and or extremely well above $1 million per coin. Well above. 2029, zoom, just completely over $1 million. 2032 is famously the OMG, what happened to this market? I wish I had bought more year, where even the guy Plan B, a number of years ago, and a number of analysts have all predicted anywhere from a $5 to a $10 million Bitcoin. That's even just the prices aside. That's not the most important part. You see, have you ever folded a piece of paper like in half, and then you fold it in half again, and then you fold it in half again? The perception is that it gets smaller, if you will, or thinner over time. That's what happens to Bitcoin supply as it comes out of the machine. He's predicting that in the next couple of years, Bitcoin is going to take over so much that people basically lose their minds and everyone starts mining as much as they can, skyrocketing the actual mining power of the network, basically draining or squeezing out extra Bitcoin from the machine that we normally would not see for another 100 years. Yes, my friends, as I've mentioned time and time again, I assume many people have maybe forgotten one of the themes of this channel, or crypto in general, is that Bitcoin is scarce. Bitcoin's not kind of scarce. Bitcoin's like destructively scarce. Bitcoin's scarce so much like you're going to wish that you had more in the future so that you actually have extra money, like generational wealthily. You're going to get annoyed by how little that you actually have in the future. Because we know that, say the numbers with me, 91% of Bitcoin is held by whales who have more than 1,000 Bitcoin in their wallet. People who have more than 5, 10, 15 Bitcoin, they're also in that, they're not even in that 91%. We're probably near around 95, 96% of Bitcoin is held by people who have monies. The additional Bitcoin that this is what we're always going over. This is what we're always going over. The additional Bitcoin that's being created is not hitting the market. That's what people keep forgetting. And I don't know why they're forgetting it, but I'm here to remind you. Remember when we had news from the largest mining companies within the space? Remember what they said? For those of you who weren't here, the largest mining companies, Bitcoin mining companies, said that world banks, central banks have come to them and said, hey, you guys got any more BTC? They literally said, if you guys ever plan on selling any Bitcoin, we want them to go directly to us. Even more so, without the banks. There's a huge market for clean Bitcoin. Basically, Bitcoin that has no transactions tied to it whatsoever. People value it at a premium. It's just the way that the world currently is. People assume that there's an almost never-ending supply of Bitcoin constantly hitting Bitcoin exchanges. You see how Bitcoin's price goes up? It's because there's not a lot left. And the more that whales keep taking the Bitcoin off of crypto exchanges, that's less for everybody else. What are we going to do? What's going to happen to all the Bitcoin? It's going to dry up. He's predicting that it's going to get so crazy. And I will say, I am of the mindset that by the time we go by a $500,000 to a $1 million Bitcoin, I think people are going to lose their minds, realizing what they could have had, dare I say, in anticipation of a $100 million Bitcoin. That's an old school reference. It is believed by the earliest Bitcoin maximalists that once we get to, once again, past $800,000, we surpass the valuation of gold. Once we pass by $1 million, psychologically, Bitcoin is like a rich person's item. It is a luxury item that other people want to have. $1 million Bitcoin means that we are seeing inflows from hundreds of millions of people around the world who are getting it, that they need to get some because there's not a lot left. There's not a lot of Bitcoin left for every millionaire and billionaire on the planet. Mathematically, it's impossible. For I think was it 25 or 30 million millionaires and billionaires on the planet. It's impossible for them to each have an entire Bitcoin. Basically, the frenzy will get so crazy in less than 10 years that 99% of Bitcoin will be mined by 10 years. For those of you who didn't get it, the last Bitcoin is not supposed to be mined. You know, like remember folding the paper in half, like it gets less and less. The last Bitcoin is not supposed to be mined until the year 2140. He's predicting 105 years earlier. I told you it was impossible for you to know what he was going to say. Because Bitcoin can only be created through mining, all BTC in existence are those that have been mined. Logically, Bitcoin's total supply is currently 19,760,384 BTC, or over 94% of Bitcoin's maximum 21 million Bitcoin supply. According to CoinMarketCap, this implies that there are 1,239,588 BTC left. Math. Here's a little tweet right here. It says 99% of Bitcoin will be mined by the 2nd of January 2035. In about 20 years, people will look back and say, where were you during the digital gold rush? If you recognized it and you did something about it, you'll be rich. I can't give you words to describe the implications of what this would mean, simply because the idea, and this is something, once again, this is also 2016, 17, 18 mentality right here. There were a lot of articles back then with people asking, what the fudge is going to happen with Bitcoin in the year 2141? If there's no more Bitcoin to be mined and Bitcoin mining secures the network, what happens to the entire system? So a lot of people like Andreas Antonopoulos, Baja, other names, because there's tens of thousands of them, came forward and they said, well, the idea is that as everything works on consensus, basically people would vote and say, hey, Bitcoin has to change in 2140 to make sure that it's still being, things are being validated in the future, even though we don't have mining, literally, like we can't mine anymore. The idea that in 10 years, 99% of Bitcoin will be mined would basically imply that by the year 2040, 2042, 2043, that we'd probably have the last 1% of Bitcoin that we'd need to. Okie dokie. Saylor's prediction implies an acceleration in Bitcoin mining activities over the next decade that would see nearly 5% or more of Bitcoin's maximum supply being mined. If Saylor's prediction holds true, it would mean that 99% of Bitcoin's total supply would be in circulation much sooner than many had anticipated. Several analysts forecast that the final Bitcoin, or the final Satoshi, will be generated around the year 2140. For those of you who also don't know, right now, like, Bitcoin comes out of the network. Got it. In 2032, there will only be Satoshis coming out of the, for the mining reward. You know how let me try and explain this to you. Let me see. You would only need, wait, why can't I do math? 6,000. You would only need around $300 to get the amount of Bitcoin that's going to come out of the machine after 2032. Like current prices right now. Around $300, give or take, to be able to have as much Bitcoin that's going to be produced by the actual block. I've been saying it for a while, and yeah, there's not a lot of Bitcoin that's actually left, and I still think the only thing that's going to really set this into people's minds is a higher price. And or prices going higher. I don't think there's anything. The summertime that we just passed really solidified it for me in my head. How much people don't get it. Prices go sideways. Prices go down. And retail sells off. One of the largest mistakes I think that people make when it comes to investing is that A, they don't do their own research, they don't learn, they don't want to learn or know more, and then they end up selling the items that they have that are valuable. That's, I think, something that's going to come back and haunt a lot of people within this market. I'm not joking. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being, I truly do think so. There's, if you're on Twitter, there are a lot of people who are like scouring through and finding old posts from Reddit of people talking about how much Bitcoin they had, how much they sold. And I mean, like, old articles from 2010, 2011, 2012, things like that. Remember, we talked about one of the more popular ones is this guy talking about, I'm stretching. Oh, my back. This guy was talking about, he wrote something along the lines of, I'm so glad that I got out of that bubble. I think Bitcoin was at $2 and he sold, 10,000 Bitcoin. I think it went up to $11 and then it fell back down, and he was like, so glad I got out of there. It wasn't worth it. And you look back and you're like, I would do a lot to have a $2 Bitcoin. Like, I know I'm not the only one. I would do a lot of really weird stuff to get a $2 Bitcoin. when we get to 500,000, I think that sentiment is going to set in once again. I'm just, light prediction. There will be people who go, I wish I could go back to a 10, 15, 20, 35, $45,000 Bitcoin. I really think that the world isn't going to, and it's the shame, it's a shame, because these are the people who need it the most. Billions of people, there are billions of people right now who don't have access to the current financial system. They're using, literally, they're using phone apps to transfer phone credit as a form of money. There are people weaving baskets in the streets of their local currency because it's so worthless. They're trying to sell the baskets to people for US dollars. Like they have nothing. Bitcoin is probably, and I don't know the exact future, is probably the solution that they need to make money. How much better off they would be if they actually bought this Bitcoin. And this also goes out to a lot of people who are in the market right now as well. If you didn't see the videos over the course of the summer, the only people who were selling were retail investors. We had this news over and over and over and over again. And it was basically almost nearly on the part of whales. Whales and rich people don't want people who aren't rich to be in their markets. So what do? You create a fake sell order, and or you actually even sell some Bitcoin. You sell 5,000 Bitcoin. The market begins to cascade because everyone, is impatient. They see that there's a sell order. The price goes down by 1%. Everyone else sells. The price goes down by 6% over the course of the day. The person who sold the 5,000 Bitcoin, they buy it now at a discount, and then the price goes back up, and everyone else who sold don't buy, because the articles online are, will Bitcoin go lower? Is Bitcoin's price going to continue dropping? How low is Bitcoin going to go? Should you wait? And then analysts tell you, well, Bitcoin's going to drop to 20,000. Bitcoin's going down to $14,000 again. I don't know, guys. And it's the same loop over and over and over. Sorry for having this conversation once again, but it's really troubling. The shift in wealth, the shift in money, the shift in power that we're seeing. I have a friend. I don't think she's watching. Hello if you are. If she is, I don't think she understood like 90% of what I said. I was chatting with her a couple days ago about money, and we were talking about like wealth and building wealth. And she was telling me that, in long story short, she doesn't want to work anymore. She's tired of working. She's not even halfway through her 30s, and she's like, I'm tired. I can't take anymore. So I was like, I can help you. It's literally like, kind of what I do. So I was like, have you thought about getting into real estate? Have you thought about ETFs? Have you thought about like any kind of, and she went cross-eyed because she was like, I don't know what any of that is. And I forget, and I'm sure you also do as well, like the amount of information that we have in our heads. If you start spewing stuff to people, they just kind of sit there really confused. And I was asking her what her goals were, and it was basically like she wants to retire early. I was like, got it. What are the goals though? Like, what do you want to do? I was like, do you want to live off of dividend stocks? She had no idea what dividend stocks were. And when I tell you, it hit me hard, because I realized she's of course not the only one. How many people do you know who know nothing about finance? And I mean nothing. You've seen YouTube videos before, like how to save money 101. That's not even like the basics of basic finance. You should all know how to save money and like budget. You should have learned that when you were younger. That's the reason for piggy banks. For those of you who don't know, it's meant to like teach you how to put money away to save for a rainy day. So I had to explain what dividends were. I had to explain what all, and she asked, and I looked at her, and I didn't get angry, but I was almost confused, She said, is it like, so I don't know if you've ever heard this term before. She said, is it like playing the ponies? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? For those of you who don't know, it basically means like the horse races and all these other kinds of things where like there's literally no real guarantee. Like it's not investing at all. You're literally just like placing your money down and it's kind of seeing it disappear in front of you. I had to explain what these companies, like how it works. I was like, if you buy a share of this company, you essentially own a fraction of the company. And every month or every quarter, depending on which kind of dividend you're getting, you'll get money from it. And I was like, if this one costs $100 and the dividend is $1.50, random number, and you have 2 of them, you'll get $3. If you have 4 of them, you'll get 6. And she was like, oh, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, imagine multiplying this your entire life. Imagine your partner doing it. Imagine, you keeps going on and on and on. You can retire early. But it hit me really fast that in my mind, once again, been here for a while. In my mind, Bitcoin doesn't seem abstract anymore. It's almost, I know it's not a physical thing, but it almost feels physical. I understand it. I get it. I got what it's for. Part of me wanted to try and introduce her to crypto. To be like, hey, you should get into the market. If she didn't understand what a dividend was, she's not going to understand a security. She won't understand blockchain. Like it'll take her years to actually get into all of this. And that's what I mean by like, it's a shame. It's the people who would benefit from it most, who are the most, they don't know about it. They know nothing about this market. They hear about it and all they hear is that some celebrity created a coin. This scam happened. This so-and-so. That's why I told you all before. I was like, you don't understand how early you are. Crypto's very abstract to people. Finance and money are abstract and unknowns. We're in like actual uncharted territory. If you've been buying crypto, if you've been buying these coins, if you have a portfolio like full of crypto, you are ahead of billions of people. I know it sounds nonsensical. I said it before on the other channel. When people hear stuff like that, they go, okay, yeah, I am far ahead. Oh, that's kind of cool. You're not really understanding what it means even for 2035. We see new people getting into the market all the time. You are ahead of them. You are going to benefit more from the Fed lowering interest rates, from asset prices going up, from Bitcoin rising higher and dragging the altcoins with it. You are ahead of billions of people. So whenever I see my view count go down, I'm like, that's people losing interest, people losing sight of what's in front of them. You want instant gratification. You want millions of dollars right now. You start buying coins 2 years ago. I told you a lot of you are going to make 6 and 7 figures during this bull run. You're not understanding the words that I'm saying. You don't get how early you are. You don't get how big that this actually is. Why do you think all the Bitcoin's being accumulated? Why do you think it's such a hot commodity? Why do you think they want all of what's meant for you? Keep your eyes on the prize, guys, and gals out there as well. Hello. But it's nuts what's happening all the time. And I know there's going to be so many people who are going to be angry with themselves in the future. Because you see it now. People say, I wish I had bought Bitcoin before. Why didn't I get XRP at this price? Why didn't I buy Ethereum? Be lucky that you're here now. Do you want to stop, pause it, and then buy a $15,000 Ether? Do you want an $18 XRP? Do you want to get into Bitcoin when it's at $1 million? Or do you want to stop complaining and get into the market now? You know, that was a real question. I think that's going to do it for this video. I think more people are going to be talking about this topic, especially as I've mentioned before in other videos, Bitcoin's mining power, Bitcoin's hash rate, the last time we heard about it was 8x. It was up by 800% more than the last bull market in 2021. Why would they be mining so much Bitcoin? Why would they want something that they could buy at this price or mine it that's going up to $1 million? I can't seem to figure it out. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.